It's the video everyone is waiting for. It is my best books of 2022. G'day folks, Wren here, and today we're going to go through some of the best books that I read this year. I'm going to start out by apologising if you can hear a fan. It is ridiculously hot because it is currently summer in Australia. And if you couldn't tell by my accent, that's where I'm from. Also, we have the special guest who's always in these videos. He'll be making noise too. Anyways, 2022, reading wise, it's been interesting. I had a whole bunch of just like mediocre books. I had a few really awful books. If you saw my worst books video, I'll link that down below, go have a look. I give lots of salty opinions. But best books of the year, I did have quite a few, and I really was kind of exploring what I liked in books this year. I found that I really like horror, so that was fun, and I discovered manga. Like, yes, it's become like my new love. It's great. So I'm gonna go through 10 of the best books I read this year, and we're gonna go from number 10 to number 1. But before we do that, I just want to do like a few little honourable mentions. The remaking of Corbin Whale, it's phenomenally beautiful. I read it and then immediately reread it the next month. So good. Annihilation, amazingly weird. So good. You Better Be Lightning, one of the best poetry collections ever. The Heart Principle made me sob. So those are just a few honourable mentions, but we're going to start with number 10. That is Tell Me How You Really Feel by Amina May Safi. This is a YA sapphic romance, and it's really beautiful. It's got a bit of the like enemies to lovers thing going on, but they are put together in making a film. Yeah, a film. Because one of our main characters is a director, and her teacher tells her to like do really well, it'll help with the college application. And so she gets this other girl to help her with this film, casts the other girl as the lead in the film, and so the story that they're retelling is Helen from Troy. So what they wanted to do was like a feminist retelling of Helen from Troy, where Helen isn't just beautiful, you know, she's more than that. And they do end up telling this really great story. They end up falling in love during the process, and then some things are sacrificed for the sake of getting into college. It was so well written, and I love that it is two BIPOC characters that are queer. Like, it added something really special to these characters, because you know they were dealing with being queer, but then they also had, you know, all of those added pressures that come along with racism, because there's always some. But this was just so beautiful, just like these girls and them falling for each other. It was so sweet, and it has that like theatre queers, which I am obsessed with. Probably one of my top tier tropes is theatre queers. If anyone has any theatre queer books they'd like to recommend, please leave them down below. So number 9, we have Cheer Up by Crystal Fraser. Now this is a comic that I had wanted to read because it got really big like when it first came out, because we have a trans main character and she's also sapphic. I'm not sure if she labels herself, but we have queer main characters, and everyone was saying it was so good, and I was like, well, you know, I'll read it. Cheerleaders really aren't my thing, but I'll give it a go. I was blown away. It was amazing. The transphobia that our main character goes through is like, it's real, and like some of the things that she did, like being fetishized, that doesn't often get spoken about in trans novels, but it was brought up in this, and like it's a really important thing to talk about, because yeah, trans people, especially trans women, get fetishized a lot. But what I also really loved about this story is just the friendship. The friendship that our main characters have with each other that then turns into a little bit more than friendship, which is super cute. And then the friendship that they develop with their teammates. It's really cute. It had a lot of like girl power vibes going on. So number 8, we have Where the Drowned Girls Go by Sean and Maguire. This is book 7 or 8 in the Wayward Children series, and oh, I love this so much. I wish this was like an entire full-length novel. It was so good. It's following Kaurna, who is one of my favorite characters. Since she was first introduced, I was like, her. I like her. She's so great. But she leaves the school to go to a different school where she thinks that she'll have more discipline and it'll help her be in the normal world instead of in her own portal world. So she goes to this new school and it's very strict. She meets a bunch of different characters, doesn't always get along well with them. There is some shenanigans going on at this school. This book kind of reminds me of the first in this series, where we have these really interesting characters that have like their own little stories that you want to know, but then there is also this kind of other plot that's happening, like this mystery about what's happening in the school is reminiscent of the like murder mystery that happens in Every Heart a Doorway. So we have that going on, and it was just so good. Kaurna is amazing. You know, we have a plus size main character and she has moments where she loves her body and the moments where she doesn't, which is pretty normal. And I love all the friendships that she makes and all these other people that she meets. They sound really interesting and I just... So number 7, we have Hangman by Jack Heath. This was actually a book that my friend Max recommended to me and I put it off for so long because I didn't think I'd be interested at all. And here we are, it's number 7 on the best books of the year. This is the first book in the Timothy Blake series where we have Timothy Blake, who is a cannibal that helps the FBI with some of their cases. Like, he's the cannibal. He eats people. And it's fascinating. He is such a disaster, but in a weirdly lovable way. Everything is told from his point of view, so you really get inside his head and, you know, you hear about his urges to eat people and how he prepares people and just all of these things. And it was fascinating. I think I read this in a day because I couldn't put it down. It was so fun because he's a mess, but he's trying to help the FBI because he has a deal set up with the FBI that help his dietary requirements, and he's helping them solve a case. And like, he's really good at solving cases, but not in that way where he's superhuman, because he's not. He's just an average guy that is a cannibal that's really good at solving puzzles. And it never feels like he's, you know, doing like a Sherlock where he's just like pulling these bits of information out of nowhere and solving everything. It feels really authentic, the way that he solves these crimes, and, you know, you go through his process of finding out what's happening. It's really good. It is very gory because, you know, he's eaten people and some of those scenes, but it's so fascinating and so much fun. Like, one of the most entertaining books I read this year, honestly. Like, I was hooked. So number 6, we have Soul Eater by Atsushi Okubo. Now, this is just volume 1. I'm kind of just meaning the entire series. This is a manga series. I am thoroughly obsessed with Soul Eater now. Again, Max recommended this to me. Shout out to Max. And this is about a school run by Lord Death, and he is training kids. We have 2 kind of types of kids. We have the kids that are weapons, so they are kids that can turn into literal weapons, and then we have meisters, who are the people that can wield these weapons. And the point of this is that, you know, they're hunting down evil, and the weapons then will eat the souls of the beings that they are told to kill. And like, you know, they're only killing the bad guys. And when a weapon eats 99 souls and 1 witch soul, they then become a death weapon. So they're like level up, and then they can become a weapon for Lord Death, which is like the ultimate of everything. And it's just, it's so good. The fight scenes are great. We have this little like found family of kids going on, and all of the kids are really, really interesting. Just like their found family vibes is everything. Like the Meisters and weapons are so loyal to each other because they have this really deep soul bond going on, but then they also have this relationship with like the others in their little group, and it's so cute. And there's so much going on in this that I can't really tell you much, but it is the most Halloween vibes of anything. We have a witch called Blair Witch. Yeah, there's a witch that has like uses snakes, and her name is Medusa. There's another witch that uses spiders, and her name is Arachne. Like it plays on those things, but it's so fun. Okay, we're into the top 5. So number 5 is Out of the Blue by Jason June. This, oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with this book. It was so beautiful. It has mer creatures, and it has a plus size main character, and it has fake dating. So this is about a particular mer person who has to come on shore so that they can complete a kind of like coming of age ritual where a mer person has to spend 1 month on land, where in that time they have to help a human with something before they can return to the ocean and become an elder. So we get our mer person, they come up on shore, and our lifeguard that thinks this person is drowning rushes over, and they connect a little, and our lifeguard is our plus size main character, and he's adorable. He's so cute, but he just got broken up with by his boyfriend, so he's not feeling great, and he kind of ends up asking the mer person to be his fake partner to kind of make his ex-boyfriend jealous. And the mer person is like, yeah, I'll do that, that's fine. It being a fake dating, of course, these two people end up falling for each other, and it's really sweet the way it happens. And the ending, I really liked the ending, honestly. Like, it kind of broke me, but it was really good. But another thing I really love about this book, apart from our adorable, adorable main character and their adorable little relationship, is that our mer person is non-binary, and basically all mer creatures are, but when they come on shore they're in a body that is considered more masculine to the human world, and that doesn't sit right with them, so they're like, yeah, I'm non-binary. And the way it's just accepted by our other main character was beautiful. Like, he immediately went from using he and pronouns to completely switching to they them, and like it was nothing. I was like, yes, 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 yes. Okay, number 4 is A Man and His Cat by Yumi Sakura. Thank you so much to Meredith for buying me this edition. It's so good. Let me start out by saying, you can't see him right now, he's asleep right here, but I'm a dog person. Like, hugely a dog person. This made me a cat person. Like, I started looking up when the RSPCA would open so that I could go buy a cat. That's how much I loved this. It was adorable. It's really just about this man buying a cat. He goes to a pet store and he picks out this particular cat, and you get mostly everything is from the cat's point of view. This cat, it just wants to be loved, and because it wasn't like a pretty little kitty, it didn't get picked at the pet store a lot, so you just kept seeing people leave and not pick it. And then this man comes up and he's like, that one, I want that one. And then the kitten's just like like, it's so cute. It's just, the kitten just wants to be loved, and he's like insecure, but it's so cute, and just their little relationship, it's so cute. And like, I just want a cat. Sorry, Chopper, I love you, but I want a cat. Okay, number 3. We have The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling. This is awesome. Again, I think I read this in like one day. This is about cavers. So people that will go exploring caves, and it's set in the future, and they're on a different planet, and to be a caver you have to like have a bunch of really invasive surgery to put you in this suit so that you can then go into the caves for extended periods of time. And I'm talking like it reroutes your digestive system so that it can just feed you, and like, you know, you're not eating, it's just feeding you like through tubes, and it's taking out the waste and all this kind of thing, because going into caves can be toxic, so you know you can't remove your mask at all. And our main character is desperate for money, so they take this really risky job and they go into the cave, and that's kind of where things start going wrong. When people go into a cave, they will have like a handler almost, so you'll have someone like on the outside that's like in your ear, and you can talk to them and figure out like, you know, the maps and what the previous cavers found and all this kind of stuff. So through this mission, our main character realizes that their handler isn't telling them the truth, and that's really scary when the only person you have contact with is lying to you, and the only one that can bring you help is lying to you. You're so deep into it that you can't get out without their help. They're not telling you everything, and it's scary. So this just had the best tension ever, because you never know what's happening, and there is that feeling of like being claustrophobic, but not because you're in a cave, it's more because of the suit. So, you know, there are parts where this main character is like, I just want to like touch my cheek or feel a breeze, to have that like contact with themselves, because they can't, because they're in the suit. They do eventually figure out what their handler is lying about. They end up helping each other, but it's a really rocky relationship that these two have with each other. They do kind of develop feelings for each other. I mean, it's not Stockholm Syndrome, but it is queer, so, you know, I'll give it that. It was so cool, like, going down into this cave and not knowing what happened in the cave, or how you're going to get out of the cave, or how you're going to survive it all, because, you know, you need to like recharge batteries and replenish food supply packs, and not all of the necessities are available. Honestly, it was just like the tension in this, it was fantastic. So top 2. And number 2 is The Resting Place by Camilla Sten. This was a huge shock to me, because like I hadn't even heard of this book. I think it was on like the Stack for Strange Instagram, and I saw it and I was like, huh, sure. And I put it on hold at the library, and then it came through and I was like, oh yeah, might as well. And it's number 2 on my best books of the year. It was so good. It was unlike anything I've read before, and it has one of my biggest annoyances in books, which if you saw my worst books of the year, you'll know what that is. It's time jumps. So this book is kind of told in dual timeline. So we get the present day, and then we get 50-ish years ago, and then they're told like sequentially. But we're following our main character, who her aunt or grandmother or maternal person in her life, they've just been murdered, and she happened to witness the murderer leaving her family member's apartment, but because she has facial blindness, she couldn't tell who the murderer was. She has to go to this secluded place that her family member owned. She has to go there to, you know, clear out the place so it can be sold. When she's there, she goes there with, I think with a lawyer and another family member, but while they're there, they get snowed in, and then things start happening. Some people get hurt, you don't know what's going on, and there's like family mysteries happening, and our main character is desperately trying to figure out who was the murderer. And it was really good. Like, I will say, I didn't particularly like the past timeline. Like, it made sense with, you know, what was happening in the present, and it was good to get all that information. I was definitely more interested in what was happening in our present timeline, because that's where all the tension was for me, because, you know, something's happening to these people and, you know, they can't get out. I love isolated mysteries where, like, you're stuck and something's happening. Like, that's what I love. If you have any recommendations, please let me know. It was good. It was a really good thriller. And I don't say that a lot because I don't really know what I like in thrillers just yet. So I'm trying to figure that out. But whatever was in this, it's what I like. We've made it. It's number one, the best book of the year. Now, it was kind of hard for me to choose a number one. I think what ended up being my reasoning for choosing a number one was, did this shock me in how much I enjoyed it? Has this stuck with me throughout the year? Has this made me want to read more like it? And do I want to immediately reread it? This book has all of those. So our number one pick for the best book of 2022 is Well Met by Jen DeLuca. Now, I read this in February and I'm still obsessed. So this is the one where it's set at a Renaissance fair. Now, I had put this book off for so long because I was like, I don't care about Renaissance fairs. Like, it's not for me. But I read it anyways in February because I was reading a bunch of romances during that time, and I desperately want to go to a Renaissance fair now. Like, it was so much fun. I really loved this little like world that this town put on. So every year this particular town hosts a Renaissance fair, and it's like a whole town event. Everyone gets really into it, and there are like certain characters that like you play, and it just, everyone gets so into it, and I love a good small town vibe. And then we have our main character who has just come in, like she's new in town, and she is there to help take care of her older sister who was in an accident. I think she was in an accident, and while she's there, her niece wants to participate in the Wren Fair, but you need a parental guardian adult, someone around. Our main character will take up the slack because the mother is incapacitated. She becomes a part of the Wren Fair, and it's just, it was so cute how she just like got like absorbed into this little family of this town, and seeing her like create her own character and seeing other people with their characters. Everyone was just so nice to each other. It was very wholesome. It was so cute. And then it turns out that like, in a way, like her character and the guy that is running the Wren Fair, his character, their characters kind of have like a little flirtatious thing going on, but in reality these two people don't particularly like each other. Like, they kind of get on each other's nerves a little bit, but their characters are very flirty, so it kind of, it's, in a weird way, it's like fake dating but not, but it's so fun. Then of course these two characters do end up falling for each other, and it's all just very sweet, and you just get those little moments of like little sprinklings of like historical stuff because they have to be like in character and talk all like old English stuff, and it's very cute. I'm really like deeply in love with our main character, and I related a lot to her, like to things that she was doing and feeling, and you know, being in your late 20s and having no idea what you want to do. And just there's so much found family. Like found family, small town vibes, finding yourself, super cute romance. There were some steamy scenes, if you're wondering. It was cute, and I will say, like, give this book a chance because it's better than you think it's going to be. Like, I really didn't think Renaissance fairs would be my thing, and I'm now like caught up on this series, and I am desperately awaiting when Australia will get access to the 4th book in the series that just came out. I want it, and I want to go to Wren fairs. I want to create my own character and just live in this world. It's so cute. It really hooks you in. The writing is so good that like it makes you want to be a part of this fair. So please give this book a chance. I promise you it's better than you think it is. But those were my best books of 2022. I had a really wide range of stuff this year, like We had some manga, we had some horror, we had some contemporary romance, we had some queer stuff. It was a good time. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know, what was your best book of the year? Please leave me any book recommendations down below of any of the tropes I've mentioned, because I want to read them all. Anyways, if you have been a part of this channel at all in 2022, thank you so much from the bottom of my charred heart. I appreciate it so much. This has been such a good couple of months that I've been on BookTube, and I've made some really great friends. So thank you to all of my friends on here, you know who you are. And thank you to the book community for accepting this queer little nerd. Thank you so much for a really good year, and I hope you stick around for 2023 content, because I'm kicking it up a notch in 2023. There'll be some interesting times happening. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on my next one. Bye!